Thank you, Mr. President. I move the adoption of striking amendment number 120.
Senator Hasegawa moves adoption of striking amendment number 0120. Remarks, Senator Hasegawa.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, this has been sort of a godsend to see that there are alternatives to traditional jet fuels that are in the works right now, because my community, which used to be South Seattle, the communities under the flight path towards SeaTac Airport from the north and the south have been suffering disparately from the effects of ultrafine particulates. So there's been many studies on this, addressing this issue, trying to find just what is the impact of these jet exhausts from conventional fuels. So to hear that there are cleaner alternatives in the works, and that our state of Washington is actually trying to be at the forefront of the development of these alternative jet fuels, is really a blessing for our state, especially with our strong aviation background. But when we're offering tax incentives, we have to do our due diligence to make sure that the taxpayers are actually getting their money's worth, because those tax exemptions are actually investments by the people to create industries. In this case, the alternative jet fuel industry. So with that obligation comes what we call tax preference performance statements, in which we try to clearly articulate goals and metrics for the Joint Legislative Audit Review Committee to look at these tax exemptions down the road. So luckily, a few years ago, we passed a bill that expanded the things that JLARC is actually supposed to look at. One of them is to have a racial equity analysis of the state's agencies and all the programs that they end up auditing. So this will be one of those programs, and the JLARC will be able to look at the impacts, positive impacts, hopefully, as a result of these new alternative fuels, jet fuels that we will be creating in our state. Hopefully we'll have positive impacts, and then we can move forward with the, I should talk this way. I get distracted when you're talking to somebody else. Sorry, Mr. President. So at any rate, I'm really looking forward to this, because our community has been trying for a very long time to get our arms around this whole problem of ultrafine particulates along the flight path.
Senator Hasegawa, our deep gratitude to one of the eagle eyes on the floor. There's actually a page missing in the amendment. So we cannot take a vote on this until it is reproduced in full. So if you would kindly suspend your remarks. I think Senator has, it's page 18. We now revert to Substitute Senate Bill 5447. When last we left programming, we were in the middle of remarks by Senator Hasegawa and discovered that the amendment was not printed in full. Amendment 0120 has been reprinted in full and distributed, and we resume our programming in the midst of Senator Hasegawa's remarks regarding his proposed amendment. Senator Hasegawa.
Thank you, Mr. President. And you know, I almost got away with it until some sharp eyes caught me. So where I was at basically was, I've already talked about the ultrafine particulate problem and issue around SeaTac Airport. But what else this striking amendment does is it creates detente, actually, if you can believe it. And I wish Senator Hunt was here to hear about WSU actually being the point organization to do these studies on these alternative jet fuels. But they have to resource with University of Washington, who has already done a lot of research on this and is collecting the data even as we speak about ultrafine particles around SeaTac, and they've already issued one report. So hopefully WSU and UW will work well together and not get into a cat and dog fight. The other thing that this amendment, striking amendment does, not striking amendment, striking amendment, what it does is give the legislature the authority to, it suggests that if there's lost revenue as a result of these tax exemptions embedded within the bill, that they can be repaid by appropriation by us from the Climate Commitment Act funding. So hopefully there's no net lost revenue, because that's what I believe the CCA funding is all about, is to do this kind of forward-thinking research. So I appreciate your support for this striking amendment, Mr. President.